This sales technique feels illegal. It's never your idea, and it's always your idea. What do we know about people, about everyone in general? People defend conclusions much more strongly when they came to that conclusion. Aren't we all so stubborn, right? Now, when another person forces their reasons onto you, you're more apt to want to give a little bit of pushback. And the reality is, there's nothing wrong with that because aren't we all a little bit skeptical? But all research on self persuasion and motivational interviewing techniques support that the power of eliciting a person's own language for change is always going to be superior than you giving them the criteria to change and forcing or eliciting your opinion onto them. Now, essentially what this is really saying is when you're trying to do something with another person, if they aren't 100% apt on the idea, they are more than likely going to give you some form of pushback. And that's just human nature. So what this would look like is instead of saying, to your friend, right? Let's give a non-sales example. Instead of saying to your friend, "Hey, do you wanna go get a burrito later? We should go to the spot down the street. I heard it's really good, and I'm in the mood for a burrito." Instead of saying that, you would start the conversation by just asking a simple question, right? "Hey, are you hungry?" And they're gonna say, "Yeah, I'm pretty hungry." You're gonna be like, "Yeah, no, same. I gotcha. I could go for a couple different things. There's a lot of food places here. Um, I mean, they have Mexican food, there's Italian food, we could get a burger. There's all sorts of stuff. Would you be opposed to getting maybe Mexican food?" They're going to be like, "No, I wouldn't be opposed to that." And then you would just ask a simple question. You'd be like, "Why?" That's it. And when you just ask them to explain why they wouldn't be opposed to getting Mexican food, they're going to openly give you all the reasons to why they're not opposed to it. Now, do you notice how in that very simple example, I didn't say why you want to get Mexican food, because then I'm already pushing a very slight narrative that honestly hits the subconscious more than anything else of saying you want to do something. And what's that? That's me giving them a command saying you want this. I don't want you to want anything. Not at all. I'm just going to ask you the proper probing questions to be able to elicit the response necessary so that we come to the conclusion that I wanted the entire time. Now, when you take the basic spin framework, right, you need payoff questions to be able to work through that same mechanism. So the buyer essentially is going to explain the value of solving the problem in their own words. When you can get somebody to explain the value behind solving their problem, you just got all the ammunition you would ever need, right? Because if you're sitting on a sales call and, somebody tells you their situation and then you immediately start hammering them with, "Oh, listen, man, you're completely fucked. If you don't make a change, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. You're not going to be able to do this, X, Y, Z," right? What does somebody do? They're going to get defensive, right? Because we all have an ego. Even if you're not, an A-type person who has, a strong ego, you're still going to subconsciously feel pressured. You're going to feel attacked. Your guard's going to go up, right? We don't ever want anybody's guard to go up, right? This is the sales assassin technique, okay? You never want to be in a position, at least not at the start, where you are openly hammering someone on it's this, right? Now, people are going to need some leadership from you, don't get me wrong, but until you get them to describe the problem and then describe what the more than likely potential solution to the problem is in their own words, you haven't earned the right to be able to then hammer down on them and explain it back to them in their own words, right? Because a great rule of thumb, and keep in mind this isn't inherently true, but it's always something that I kept in the back of my mind. I always walked into every sales interaction just determining that they're going to believe nothing I say and they're going to believe everything that they say. And that isn't the case, okay? Don't get me wrong. That would be ridiculous, right? But if you go into every interaction just believing that, just tattoo it on your brain and just believe that that is the truth, you are going to have a massive amount of success because you're never assuming anything. You're never assuming that you've earned the trust of somebody. Why would you ever assume that? They're a complete stranger. You don't know them. Why should they trust you, right? So until you can find common ground with someone, you haven't earned the right to really push your opinion on them for anything, right? Because what's the seller's role in the entire sales process, right? You're a guide, okay? You're a closer, and we're out here collecting motherfucking cash, okay? But you can't openly just show up with that persona, right? Because if you do, what's going to happen? Sales resistance is going to go through the fucking roof. I mean, it's going to be egregious, right? Now, what you really are, at least to them, is you're just a guide, right? All we're doing is an honest, open examination of your problem. You're like a doctor, right? When you go to the doctor's office, what do they ask? They're like, all right, like, the fuck is wrong with you, man? What do you got going on? What is it, right? And then you tell them what you're experiencing, and then they make their recommendation, right? And people get so confused on how this isn't the exact same process just because it's a different industry, right? So when people jump on a call and immediately are like, yeah, just what's the price? You know, what is this? What do we got? It's like, dude, I don't even know if I can help you. I don't even know. And people get so offended because they just assume that, oh, you would sell me anyways, so why do you care, you know, if you can actually help me? And here's the part that nobody wants to say. Yeah, I would fucking still sell you. I'm out here collecting pape, okay? I'm collecting pape. But the reason that I don't sell you immediately is because no matter how fucking good I am, I couldn't sell you in that instance. You haven't showcased your problem to me. There isn't a gap, right? And there may be a gap inherently, but I haven't fucking found it out yet. So until I've created a gap in your mind by asking you the right questions to have you describe the gap to me, I can't sell you anything. And it doesn't matter how fucking good I am. And believe me, I'm the motherfucking ace, okay? I'll sell ice to an Eskimo. God, that is such a corny expression, but it's burned in my brain from the first car dealership that I worked at. I can still hear my manager saying it to this day. But that's the reality, right? But until there's a gap, no, it doesn't matter how good my skill set is. And it doesn't matter how good your skill set is, you watching this video. Until you've created a gap, basically nothing matters, okay? So all you need is to get the buyer to conclude the data, okay? They need to be able to share with you, hey, this is my problem. This is what I'm dealing with. This is what I think the solution would look like. This is what I think, you know, the result could look like for me, right? Because if I don't get any of that out of them, then the buyer is going to completely reject all of the information that I provide them. And it's because it's just human nature, right? There's certain people that will just, you know, come on and just fucking buy anything you have, right? But the reality is, especially since people are so poor nowadays and are so afraid of taking their own money to use it to get a whole lot richer, they run into this problem where they can't wait to just be like, oh, I don't know, I have to think about it, I have to wait, right? Until you've really dug and really pulled out and extracted all of the data from them, it doesn't fucking matter what you're selling because they're not going to buy it because there isn't a gap. You have to create a gap of where they currently are, sitting with their problem, to the solution that they want, which isn't what you're selling. You're not selling the solution, you're selling the service, but you're pitching the solution. So in their mind, them buying from you is buying the solution. Now, the reality is they're going to have to implement, you know, X, Y, and Z from your offer, from your program to be able to get that solution, okay? But you don't sell it that way. You sell the solution, right? And that's only after you've established the gap, okay? Because let me ask, right? If you were to go to, let's say, get your car fixed, right? And you just showed up to the mechanic store, okay? And Tom, with his ass hanging out, just came over and was like, yeah, this will be about 3 grand. And you're like, I just walked in. Like, do you even know where I parked? And he's like, no, that's just kind of, that's our offer. That's what we charge. What? What the fuck are you talking about, right? And here's the thing. A lot of these offers that you're going to sell on, they may have multiple tiers, right? They may have multiple solutions, and you diagnosing the problem and using, when you get resistance of people who can't wait to tell you, oh, I just want the price. Just give me the price and I'll make my decision, right? And if you have multiple tiers, then you can really say that and be truthful. But the reality is, any successful offer, they're probably going to have one Ascension upsell for people who already purchased the core offer, right? And the core offer is the fucking core offer, okay? But you're still being truthful when you tell them that you need to hear everything regarding their situation before you can actually help them. And that isn't just for your benefit to actually create a gap to be able to close them. It's also for their benefit, because majority of these offers in the high ticket sales space, they have so many functions. They have so many moving parts that could be valuable to different people. Now, you get everything regardless, but any good closer knows that you are going to tailor your pitch based on what the lead actually told you, okay? Because let's say you have 3 key components on your offer that you sell, right? And based on your discovery, it became clear that the person you're on the phone with is going to massively benefit from the second, pillar of what you offer, right? Are you going to go into your pitch and highlight pillars 1 and 3 more than anything and barely touch on pillar 2? Or are you going to highlight the fuck out of pillar 2 because that's what's going to close the deal? I mean, use your brain, right? We tailor the pitch, we tailor the solution. And now they're not getting anything different, but everything is perceived value, okay? So if the lead believes that they're getting, the specific solution, which they are, keep in mind they are, but you've explained it to them in a way where it is very clear that this is the specific solution, they're going to purchase. They're going to buy because you created the gap and then you showed the personalized solution because you actually took the time to diagnose their problem. You asked them the right questions, and then they told you in their words what they were looking for in terms of a solution, okay? And that doesn't mean that the offer you're selling is any different, from person A to person B. You're selling the exact same offer, right? Both of the leads, lead A and lead B, are getting the same offer. They're joining the same program. It's the same fucking thing, okay? But the program offers so much, and you're just highlighting the specific parts that are important to lead A, and you're highlighting the specific parts that are important to lead B. You're selling the same program, okay? And that's not being disingenuous. That's not lying by any means. It's just about highlighting what actually matters. What's going to move the needle here? What gets the deal over the line? You have to highlight what their problem is and the solution that you provide, right? You're offering the same thing, okay? But this is why we do a deep discovery. This is why high ticket sales is 80% discovery by far. Your pitch is not very long, okay? So the days of, this is old school, right? I never even worked in an industry like this, but I think back to my dad, right? In his early days in sales, it's like he's getting in, a conference room and given like a 40-minute presentation. And it's like, what the fuck are we presenting for 40 minutes? But that's how they used to do business, right? Because people are retarded and think that they need to know all of these little silly things that don't matter at all. That's just not what success looks like in today's day and age, especially in the high ticket sales market. It is as simple as I have this problem, okay? You then have a complex offer. You're going to listen to their problem, you're going to create a gap, and then you're going to clearly present the solution, and you're going to tailor that complex offer and highlight the key benefits to that lead. You're not lying, you're not making anything up, you're just tailoring your pitch to them, okay? And this is why you have to ask them the right questions. And you can't just assume, you can't just tell them, hey, this is your problem, this is what you got going on, this is our solution. They're not going to fucking believe you, they're not going to listen to you, right? On top of it, you need to know the why, right? You need to understand, why does this outcome matter to them? What are they running towards? What are they running from, right? Because this is not a logical sale. Now, in the B2B markets, sure, it's, a lot of logic goes into things, but regardless, we are all human beings and we are all incredibly emotional creatures. We are emotional, really emotional. So you need to ask them, why does this outcome really matter to you, right? Because we need to start digging. I need to find the pain, right? I need to know, what's the future look like for you, right? Let's get excited. Let's get excited in that future pace. I want to bring you all the way up here. I want you goosebumped up on the call. Goosebumps, okay? Because you're so excited about what the future looks like when you solve this problem. And then, oh man, I am going to fucking slam you down on consequence of inaction. Then I want to know, what's it look like if, we don't solve this today? I need you in the lowest valley. I've had tons of people cry on these calls. And that makes me sound like a master manipulator, but that is the truth. And it's because I really took the time to get to know the person. I asked them the right questions. I listened, unbelievably listened. And because I have such a high level of emotional intelligence, I'm able to say the right thing at the right time. It's just a fact. It's because I have hypervigilance, okay? So when I combine all of that and I take you to the highest of mountain peaks in future pace, and then I literally slam you through the floor with consequence of inaction, asking you what the future looks like for you if you don't do anything about this, if you don't find this solution, oh man. Yeah, I've had people in tears, many people in tears, men and women. You would expect, a lot of times it's the women, but I've had some guys, really, really get shaken up over this, because if you're truthful with me, and you're ready to spend 5, 10, 15, 20K, on whatever offer I'm selling, this is a big fucking deal to you. This is a big deal. And you better be emotionally bought in, because if you're not emotionally bought in, guess what? You're going to get cooked, buddy. And whatever you're buying from me isn't going to work. Okay? Because you're not bought in emotionally, right? Now, throughout this process of taking them through the highs and the lows, okay, you need to continuously reuse the buyer's exact language when you're summarizing, okay? When you're doing, your acknowledge and resonate, which is my trademarked formula that I teach all of my students, okay, ARQ, and the A and the R stands for acknowledge and resonate. When you're utilizing that, you need to use their exact language, because that is the easiest way to form a connection with somebody. When they hear their words said right back at them, it's the fastest way to build trust. It's not even close. Because in today's day and age, people don't fucking listen to each other or pay attention to each other at all. Everyone's glued to their cell phone like this, okay? So the second they get on a call with me, and I am laser focused in on them, and I make them feel heard, seen, and valued, it's a wrap. People can't wait to hand me their credit cards. They can't fucking wait to do it. And keep in mind, this is exactly the same framework and formula that I teach all of my students inside Rewire Elite Performance. Now, if that's something you want to get into, if you want to break into high ticket sales and you want to learn ARQ and you want people handing over their credit cards to you, okay? I want you to go below, click that link below. It's going to be a quick application. Should take you to the landing page as well. That's actually first. It'll take you to the landing page. And then, there'll be a quick video kind of breaking down our whole offer. And then there's an application, and then you book a call. Okay, you'll speak with a member of my team. We'll take great care of you. We'll get you set up in high ticket sales. Okay, very, very important. Now, the highest level of closing, it's not winning an argument. Okay, a lot of people get confused and think sales is this push and pull and back and forth, this tongue twisting, this manipulation, and it just couldn't be more wrong. Sales is very, very elegant. Sales is very, very elegant, and it's an art, It requires true mastery, and it's something that I have put my life's work into, right? It's communication, it's emotional intelligence, it's connection, right? Because all you need to do to have massive success is you just need to help someone hear their own truth, okay? And they need to hear it repeated back to them, and it needs to resonate clearly enough so that they make a decision. Because oftentimes people keep these problems that they have to themselves, okay? And they're just bouncing it back and forth in their own head. And then when they get on a call with you and you appear confident, competent, trustworthy, an expert in your field, and then all you do is ask a couple probing questions, and then you recite the language that they use to describe their specific situation, their specific solution, what it feels like when it all works out in the future, what it could feel like if they don't make a change, and you use their exact language and throw it right back at them. Take my credit card, please. That's literally what happens, okay? I can't make this shit up, guys. I've done millions of dollars in high ticket sales, and that is literally how easy it is. And for some reason, I don't see anyone online talking about this. Maybe it's because they think it makes them sound less smart to tell people it is easy. I don't feel that way at all. Just because something is easy, right, does not mean that it doesn't require, practice. It doesn't require a ton of skill. It doesn't require guidance and coaching and mentorship to become a master, right? I don't know where people get that from. I think it's because they're trying to protect their own frame of selling, their program. To me, that's fucking stupid. I'll just tell you flat out, I have by far the best program. I make sales so unbelievably simple and easy for beginners to immediately turn into, maybe not masters, but pretty advanced right away. And I've had people come in who, God bless them, were complete jokes when they first joined and now are making serious money in high ticket sales. And I'm telling you, if you saw some of these people when they first joined, you would think this person is completely fucked and just wasted their money. But we run a very, very simple step-by-step system. It's almost impossible to fail, okay? Now, with all this being said, hopefully you took a lot of value away from this video. I explain things very, very direct, and I'm going to be creating many, many more of these quick sales training videos here. So what I want you to do is stay tuned in on this channel, like this video, subscribe to the channel, right? So you get notified when we drop new videos, okay? And again, if this was enough for you and you're really interested in utilizing my ARQ system, you're interested in utilizing, the best job board in all of high ticket sales, you want to join Rewire Lead Performance. So like I said, there's a link down below, okay? You'll see it. It's going to prompt you to the landing page. You're going to be able to check out a quick video that, breaks down the whole program, tells you a little bit about me. There's all sorts of resources, right? Then quick application. Okay, let's get some info about you. And then you book a call with my team and we will take great care of you. We'll get you started in high ticket sales. So if all that sounds interesting to you and you're looking to get a whole lot richer, that's what I would do. But if not, you're not ready to make that jump just yet, still feeling a little hesitant, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next video.